So we'd like to welcome everybody today. It is Monday, the November the 10th. We're doing a investment webinar presentation. I'm going to start the webinar off, and then I'm going to hand it over to David and Leonard, and then I am going to hop right in when they're done and wrap it up for everybody. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll either answer them typing in the chat or live during the presentation or at the end of the presentation. So this particular presentation is for Woodland Ridge Apartments. It's in Hope Mills, North Carolina, which is a suburb of Fayetteville. We'll be talking a lot about that market. It's a great market. This is a Class B property. So properties are A, B, C, D. This is A, B. You can see this is a very nice property. There were 34 units built in 1985, 26 units built in 2004. We'll talk a lot more about the property. This is an investment opportunity. It's a 506C and it's open for accredited investors only. If you are not accredited, you can stay and watch. You just won't be able to invest because you have to be able to prove that you're accredited. This particular opportunity comes with a 7% preferred return. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but that basically means that until you make 7% on your money, there is no split for Leonard and David and us as partners in the deal. This is a 2x multiple in 5 years and this comes with an 18% IRR. That means it's the internal rate of return. I do see I forgot to change this from 506B. The QR code's still the same. I updated it on the back slide. And this is a presentation from Candice Major. So all of the Candice Majors, so Phil and Shanoa, Olivia, Sanjay, Mike, and Sharar are partners in this. They're the sponsors of this particular opportunity. So disclaimer for Candice Major. Candice Major facilitates the collaboration between members by assisting in setting up presentation sessions for its members with the investment opportunity and invite other members to do these presentations. Candice Major does not endorse or vet the investment opportunities that are presented by its members and is not responsible for investment opportunities not performing. All members are advised to carry out their own due diligence on investment opportunities, making any investment decisions. So again, this is a collaboration, as I mentioned before, between Phil Shanoa, Massive Capital, and Massive Masters. So David and Leonard are star Massive Masters students. We're going to brag about them at the end of the webinar. So I'm really excited to tell some of their successes that they've had. And so if you want to hang out with successful people, they will brainwash you into believing in yourself and thinking you can achieve anything. And I know if you ask these gentlemen, would they be buying a multi-million-dollar apartment a couple of years ago, they would be saying, I don't think so. But here we are today and we're doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to David and Leonard. They'll do an introduction. I'm going to be driving the presentation. Sometimes I jump ahead. Sometimes they tell me to go back or forward. So you guys go ahead and take over.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank you for the introduction, Trevor. That was very nice. So we'll start out with the sponsor team here. This is myself, David Sampson, my partner, Leonard Nwote, and of course, Massive Capital. This is the second deal that we're going to be doing with Massive. Last year, we closed a 52 unit in Midland, Texas, and it's doing great. We'll talk about more of that later. But you can see myself and Leonard, we have a 16 unit in Asheboro, North Carolina, the 53 unit in Midland, Texas, and then this will be the 60 units in North Carolina. So this, of course, is the disclaimer saying that this is an investment. With investment comes risk. We do a lot to minimize that risk on our part. As far as the underwriting is very conservative, which you'll see going out through this presentation. The occupancy rate would have to drop below 55% before we're not able to pay our note with Freddie Mac. And you'll see a lot more as we go through here in the presentation. So we'll start out with some of the property details. This is going to be a little bit lengthy of a presentation, but we're going to go over all the important information, and you'll get this sent out to you after today, and you can do your own due diligence and look through the rent comps and the sales comps and whatnot. But we'll start off with the property details here. Again, 60 units. The square footage for each of these units is going to be 1,050. So nice square foot for these units. We got 36 of the units were built in 1985. 24 of the units were built in 2004. This is going to be 6 buildings, 3 stories per building. The market rents for this area, and you'll see in the rent comps, are going to be $11.94, and that's pretty conservative. As you'll see, the in-place rents right now at Woodland are just over $1,000 at $1,068, and the occupancy rate is 93%. Nice, strong occupancy rate. It's had a consistent occupancy rate for the last 10 years, over 90%. So that's another great thing that we like to see. Some of the mechanical and construction details are just pretty standard: electrical wiring, copper wiring, no rag wiring or any of the old stuff. Plumbing pipes are all copper, no PEX pipe or any of that stuff that's busting in some of these other complexes. The plumbing and sewer lines are cast iron. Heating, air conditioning, hot water is all electric. So that's great. Framing, just pretty standard: wood framing, brick exterior, siding exterior. The roofs on all 6 of the buildings were just replaced within the last 5 years. So we have pretty much brand new roofs throughout the whole complex right now, which is great. There is a RUBS program, which means that all the tenants pay their own utilities. So we get paid back for all of the utilities. So that's all extra value add for us. So we'll go over some of the investment highlights that we'll be talking about in the presentation. So again, this is a Class B asset in a Class B location. That's just based off the quality of the units itself, the quality of the building, and where we're positioned in North Carolina. This opportunity came out at $7.8 million a year ago. They dropped the price to $7.3, and we stayed in touch with them and let them know we love the opportunity, we love the deal, we love the area. So we ended up negotiating and getting this under contract for $7 million. That's going to be $116,000 per door versus 130 to 170 and up from what you'll see in some of the sales comps. Some of the proven value add framework: the owner just put $1 million, over $1 million in interior and exterior renovations. We'll be showing you some of those. 52 out of the 60 units have already been upgraded, and the owner just started raising those rents on, I would say, about 10 of those units, just to kind of justify to the new owners that it is going to be able to bring those rents up to market fairly easy. And so the new roofs and HVAC systems have been upgraded. The occupancy rate, again, has consistently exceeded 90% for the past 10 years. There is a structured fee program for cable, internet, and pest control and all that. Just put in a nice tight package for the tenants, very convenient for them, that we'll continue to implement after we purchase. And so you can see there's also immediate and long-term growth for all investors and everyone involved. Some of the excellent market fundamentals. So the Fayetteville MSA, that's Metropolitan Statistical Area, continues to benefit from a strong market and fundamentals with a recession-resistant employment. We'll kind of show you some of that. In the past 5, we've had all steady rent growth, population growth, and employment growth. And that's all of those percentages are within the last 5 years. So nice, strong numbers that we like to see for those 3. Positioned in a high demand submarket with limited new supply. So there's only 72 multifamily units that are set to be built in this area. So high rent demand and low new supply coming in the area. So that's another thing that we'd like to see. And of course, Fort Liberty, Fort Bragg is right there, one of the largest military installations in the world. They're set to receive over $84.5 million in infrastructure and personal supports and investments, and that's just naturally going to stimulate the economy around this area. And below, you'll see some of the charts. Those are just some more of the numbers that we've already talked about. Some of the value add upsides. So the average in-place rents right now, again, are $1,062. The market rents in this area are $1,200 and up. And you can see that's a great opportunity to drive the NOI growth. So the 52 out of the 60 units have already been renovated, and the current owner just started raising those rents to $11.94. That's $132 above premium and in-place rents. And you can see from the T1, just raising those few units, the NOI growth has been 5.9% compared to before they did that. The T6 is the trailing six, the last 6 months NOI of 10.3. So you can just see that increase just by one month versus 6 months by increasing those few units, the renovated units, getting those up to market rent. Again, the structured fee program has been put in place. We'll continue to push that. That's for cable, internet, pest control, and whatnot. And then we have a few other ideas that I'll kind of show you. One of the ideas that we have for some value add is just put in some parking space numbers for some of those more premium spots for people to park in front of their building, in front of their units. And that would be a little bit of value add. On the right, you'll see a few shots of some of the interior of these units, nice, comfortable units. And here's going to be a bird's eye view of the area. You can see this is our complex right here. So again, 6 buildings. Buildings 1 through 5 is going to be the 36 units that were built in 1985. Building 6 is going to be the 24 units that was built in 2004. Number 7 is a dog park that they built. Another value add thing we're thinking about doing, well, it's more for the tenants, is just moving that dog park a little closer to Cameron Road and then putting a playground and a park for the kids and the families that live in this area. Next to that, you'll see between 7 and 8 is the pool. They used to have a pool, but they closed it in. We usually say if it's not 100 units or more, we don't really think it's necessary to have a pool there. So they closed it in. It's just a concrete slab right now. But there's a little small grill. In the future, we plan on maybe putting a few more grills out there, some picnic tables, little coverage so people can sit out there and enjoy in the spring and summertime, grill out and hang out with their family and friends. Number 8 is a business center and a law firm. We met them when we were out there. It's a great people. Number 9 is going to be a medical center that is coming soon. It's already been approved and set to be built in the next few years. And if you look across the street, one of the great things we liked about this, Hope Mills Elementary School is right across the street. And to the left of that you can't see in the picture, is Hope Mills Middle School. So the middle school and elementary school are right across the street for these families that live here. And you can see just the surrounding area, nice, quiet, calm, nice area. So this is going to be a shot of some of the classic units before renovation. Nothing special, but still nice, comfortable, cozy units. And then next slide, Trevor. And then here we have the renovated units after renovation. Again, 52 out of the 60 units have already been renovated and complete. And only about 10 of those have been brought up to market rent. So that's part of our strategy when we come in, is just to get the new property management company in place, and they'll continue to slowly raise these rents up to market rent throughout the next few years. And now we'll go over some of the regional overview. Here's a shot of the 1985 buildings. You can see the new roofs. They did a lot of new siding on most of these buildings, and just nice looking buildings. Some of the regional overview, I'll kind of sum this up for you. So it's home to approximately 400,000 residents in the Fayetteville area. Downtown Fayetteville is called the cultural hub for Southeast North Carolina. A lot of historical sites, museums, galleries, restaurants, bars, just a lot of stuff to do in downtown Fayetteville. Also Cape Fear Regional Theater, Cape Fear Regional Botanical Gardens, and the festival. They do have a festival park out there. It's really nice for the spring and summertime. The heavy military presence provides most of the strong economic stability in Fort Bragg, which is generating a total economic impact of over $8.1 billion. There's also 265,000 military personnel, civilians, employees, retirees, and their family that are supported by Fort Bragg. So that does make this one of the largest military installations in the world, not in the country, but in the world. And they were established in 1918, so they're not going anywhere. We love military. We love military presence, but we like to focus on and like to see other major industries in this area that can support other than military. And we have that, such as education, healthcare, retail, trade, public administration. And we'll show you a few more in some slides to come. I-95 corridors right there. You got DC and Baltimore about 4.5 hours away, 7 hours to New York. Down south, 7 hours to Orlando, Florida. Miami, a little further south. To the East Coast, you got the largest deep water port of Wilmington. Norfolk and Newport are about 3.5 hours away. And then to the southeast coast, you have the mountains. And here's a map overview of where we're located. So you can see us right there, Woodland Ridge in the dark blue. Up north, you have Raleigh, about an hour and 20-minute drive. To the west, Charlotte, North Carolina is about an hour and 30 to 45-minute drive. And then we're about an hour from the coast. You can see the 3 ports right there, as well as Myrtle Beach, Surf City, North Myrtle Beach. And we like where we're positioned because we're close enough to enjoy the beach and that coast, but we don't have to really deal with the weather and everything that comes with living on the coast. So we're positioned in a nice area right here in Fayetteville and Hope Mills, North Carolina. This is going to be some of the accolades for Fayetteville in the area. So cleanest metropolitan area for ozone and pollution. First in the job market in the country for recent college graduates. First fastest growing city in North Carolina. Third fastest growing city in America, and third best job markets in the nation. So really nice, strong accolades that we'd like to see when we were looking at this. Some of the other jobs in the area. So we got Walmart about 1.5 miles away. Cape Fear Valley Health Systems is right there. The VA Hospital, Fayetteville State University, of course, Amazon. Methodist University is right there, and Methodist University is actually set to build their Cape Fear Valley Health System next year. That's going to push a lot more jobs in this area. So you can see Fort Bragg, of course. We got to the right of that, we have the highway that's being built between Greensboro and Fayetteville. So that's great for commuters and travelers cutting down their time through North Carolina. The Goodyear tire plant and rubber plant is right there. And then the aerospace grade titanium mill is right there in Cumberland County. That's set to be built and is going to have another 300 jobs coming to the area. Here's a shot top left of downtown Fayetteville. Right below that, Hope Mills Park. We got a chance to walk around the park the few times that we've been there, and very nice area. Families out there picnicking and hanging out. They have concessions, ice cream, ices for the kids. Just a nice spot. One of the museums, the Airborne and Special Ops Museum, the Cape Fear Botanical Gardens, and then you can see the baseball stadium as well. So it's a lot of entertainment in the area. This is just talking about the employment numbers from those from that last one of those last slides that we looked at. So Fort Bragg, of course, 63,000 for government and military employees. Cape Fear Valley Health System, over 5,000. Walmart, over 4,000. Goodyear Tire Plant, 2,000, and so on. So nice, strong employment numbers that we like to see in this area for other than military. Demographic and income profile report. All these charts and all these numbers are very important. We like to see the median household income and average household income to make sure normal people that work at Home Depot and Starbucks and regular places can afford these rents that we're trying to achieve. And you can see from the average household income within 5 miles is 82,900, and in 2029 it's set to be somewhere around 97,000 per household. So nice, strong average household income numbers that we like to see. Now we'll get into some of the rent comparables. So this is a map kind of showing where the comps are. We chose these comps based on the year that they were built because we wanted comps that were close to the year that ours was built, as well as square footage of the units. And Trevor, if you want to skip to that next slide for me, it'll break down. It's going to have an easier chart to look at. So here you can see we'll start up top with Hidden Lakes is a 2004 build. 1,049 average square foot for their units, and you can see they're achieving 1,659. And if you look down at the bottom, Woodland Ridge, that's where we're at, 2004 build, 1,050 average square footage, and we're achieving just over $1,000. So you can see it's a lot of delta there just to come in and slowly get those rents up to market. And yeah, Timberwoods, and some of these we're actually newer than some of these, and these average square footage for the units are a little bit bigger too. So just a very strong justification of just a slow. We're not going to come in and blast the rents all up at once. It's just going to be a slow incremental raise for the next few years, And we'll come in and we'll finish renovating those 8 units that are left, but 52 out of the 60 are already there and ready to be done and brought to market. This is the rent adjusted, utility and adjusted rent table. Again, just talking about the structured fee program that we'll continue to implement and keep in place. And we just threw these rent comps in here. You can kind of get a chance to go over these on your own time. It did say 2-bedroom, 1-bath there, but we found out when we were out there for the inspection with the inspectors a few weeks ago, they're all 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So all 60 units at Woodland are going to be 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,050 average square feet. And then the sales comps, again, we just put this in here for people to do their own due diligence. This was brought out at 7.8 million. That's 130,000 per door. We were able to get this under contract for 7 million, which is 116,000 per door. And if you want to skip to that next slide, Trevor, yep. So you can see again the year that these were built, square footage, and the sales prices are just amazing here. It says 130,000. That's because that's at 7.8. We only do our underwriting and our offers based on current financials. We like to look at pro formas and see what the brokers thought that and think that it's going to be in the future, but we only underwrite and predict our numbers off of current financials and current financials only. So we'll get into the financial analysis here. So this is just talking about the unit mix. You can see the chart right there at the bottom. Again, 52 out of the 60 units have been renovated. 4 of the unrenovated units are vacant right now. So right after we close, we're going to come in and renovate those units. We already have our new property management ready to hit the ground running. We have contractors that we've been talking to and got them in place. So we'll renovate those 4 units. And as the other 4 leases come due, that's when we'll renovate those as those leases come due and put them back on also. So this is the historical and projected income and expenses. So you can see on the left, the T12 is the trailing 12, the last 12 months of income. T3 is going to be the last 3 months of income. And then you can see on the right is the year 1 pro forma, the projected for this year to come. So we'll start off with the T12. We'll take a look at the effective gross income right there of $725,000 is what they're collecting. And then after all the expenses, you see at the bottom, of course, one of the most important numbers, net operating income is $423,000. And one of the things I'd like to point out here is we always look for under market rents. So we want to be at least $200 under market, whatever's being charged in the market. And then we don't ever assume that we can manage a property better, but that's something that we keep our eyes out for. And we know with 100 units or less, we don't need an on-site property manager. So you can see that third line down, that personnel charge of $57,000 right under this. Yep, $57,000. Just by getting the new property management in place, we will not be consuming that $57,000 charge, because if you scroll down, our new property manager is going to come in and they're only going to be charging us 6% total. So if you go down to the bottom there, you'll see that $45,000 property management fee. That's about what they're going to be charging us. So we keep that. We do keep the repairs and maintenance, because if a section of the roof gets damaged or anything else that they need to hire contractors come in, they will hire outside contractors, but they do have their own in-house techs and maintenance guys, which is great, which we loved about them. So you can see year 1 pro forma. If you could just hop back 1 second for me, Trevor. So year 1 pro forma, the NOI, that third column from the right on the bottom, the NOI will be $544,000. And that's not doing anything crazy, just coming in slowly, getting those rents up to market rent, renovating the 8 units that are left to be renovated, and getting this new property management coming in place, cutting the expenses down a little bit, and just very conservative underwriting and increases throughout the years. And then you'll see on the next slide, we have the year 1 through 5 pro forma. So you can again see year 1, we went from 423, what the current NOI is, to 544. And then we have a very conservative increase over the years. And you can see year 5 would be 647,000 with an effective gross income of just close to $1 million, which would then value this at close to $12 million. So we're buying for 7, and you can see a very conservative underwriting and numbers for a 5-year pro forma gets us to almost a a exit sale at year 5 of close to 12 million. And now we'll go over the projected investor returns, all the market information. You're like, if I invest my hard-earned money into this opportunity, what will I be getting paid? So again, we're offering a 7% preferred return. That's annually. So no matter what percentage we start at, we will make sure at the end of year 5 that you've collected an average of 7% throughout those 5 years. This is an 18% plus IRR, that's internal rate of return, 7% cash on cash. This makes this a 2x equity multiple in 5 years when we sell. So whatever you contribute will be 2x when we sell. 20 to 22% annualized return. We are offering a 70-30 split. That's a 70-30 limited partner, general partner split. So all of the profits and proceeds, 70% of that will go to the limited partners and 30% will go to the general partners, which is myself, Leonard, Massive Capital. We are buying at a 6.5% cap rate, and the exit cap rate will be around 6%. And that gets this to a total raise of 3.2, and the hold period again is 5 years. So we'll go down to this chart, and you can see somebody who contributed $100,000. We just put 5.5 the first year as an example. So you'll get that passive income. Every quarter, you'll get a distribution sent out to you. And at the end of year 5, you can see we've made sure that it averaged out at 7%, which would be $35,000 that's been returned to you. You've collected back to you in your bank. And then at sale, you would get at least 70,000 of your initial equity that you put into it on top of the initial capital that you put in of 100,000. So that's where the 205 total capital that you get back to you at 5 years at sale. I'll pass this on back over to you, Trevor.
Awesome. So one of the things that's super important about investing passively into commercial real estate is your bonus depreciation. So I don't want this to become a tax lesson, but bonus depreciation is a passive loss that you will receive. So if you invested $100,000, we are estimating a passive loss of about $63,000. If you have a W-2 job, you're going to be able to apply that against your passive real estate income. If you are a real estate professional, this amount can come off of your total taxable. So let's just imagine you owed the government at the end of this year $63,000 and you invested in this investment. You would not have to pay that tax bill. Now, again, I'm not your accountant. I'm not your financial planner. So make sure you check with your accountant. And then what we would want you to do, of course, you need to invest this and multiply it double again. So you'll be that much further ahead. And then over the next few years, you're going to get some additional bonus depreciation. So it's a very powerful way for you to save on how much tax you pay. Remember, it's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. So again, talk about the fees here a little bit. We've already mentioned there's a 30% sponsor fee. There is a 2% asset management fee. There is a 3% acquisition fee. That's what we get paid when we buy the project. There is a 1.5 disposition fee. That's to cover all of our time for selling the asset. And then there is a 2% on the CapEx budget. One of the things I want to make sure that's very clear, these fees are not over and above what we've already presented to you. They are included. So all of this has already been included in our estimates to where you're going to get at least a 7% or estimated 7% cash on cash return, 2x of your money. All of these fees have already been accounted for in all of the financing. So again, as they mentioned, we're buying this property for $7 million. We're doing a loan down payment. Also want to make sure that we talk about this is fixed rate debt. There is no risk of this interest rate going up. Managed to lock in at 6.4%. We do have 1 year of interest only. That helps a lot with the cash flow at the beginning. We do have some capital improvement budgets because we have those units to renovate and some things to keep doing. We have a closing and acquisition of 430. We do have 104 operating reserves. So our total capitalization, as we mentioned before, we are raising $3.2 million. And this is a 30-year loan at a 65% loan to value. So if you come to my Monday calls, I always talk about 70. This is even a little more conservative at a 65% loan to value. And again, it's a fixed rate government agency debt, best debt you can have. So we're already past here. We were running, this is where they bought the property, did the due diligence. By the way, Sanjay and Olivia were out there for part of the due diligence, walking the units. And then we had a final call for our 506B, the unaccredited investors. And so right now we're only open for accredited investors. We have a target closing date of November 21st. So you're not going to want to delay. So if you're interested in investing, you can visit our portal and you can create an account. You're going to put an account, it will come up under Massive Capital, and that you know me. You can go through all of the paperwork. You can look at all the paperwork before you make any financial commitment. You can use your IRA funds. If you want to talk to me at all about how you would do it, that you just make sure you book a call. Now, this is where I wanted to brag on these guys. Okay, so we're partners with these guys in Westwood Villas in Midland, Texas. This is a 52 unit that they talked about. And again, you can see it's a very nice property. And if you remember, we talked to you about projections on this call today. So when they did their projections, they projected 817,000 gross income, about 400,000 in expenses. Remember, NOI is king in the commercial real estate space. They were estimating an NOI of 414, and they had committed, or at least they told investors to expect about a 5% dividend payment, okay, which was $160,000. Well, they did really bad, really good. So they managed to do 882,000 on gross income, so 8% more. They managed to spend 373 or 7% less. This combined together put a 414 up to a 509 NOI, so almost $100,000 more net operating income, which was a 23% increase. And instead of distributing 160K, they distributed over $250,000, catching up and being at the preferred rate of return. That's why they're smiling. And they were smiling because they knew they could do this when they bought this property. So again, we're super excited to be partners with them. You're one decision away from a new life. We want you desperately to be able to create passive income in your life. You know, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Anybody who comes to any big dog call knows that my goal is to have 100,000 people reach financial independence through passive real estate investing. This will be deal number 35 for me. So I've been in a few deals myself. I'm super excited about this deal. There's a few that come along that I go are really good deals. So I didn't see any questions in the chat. So I'm going to stop sharing to see if you can unmute yourself. You can put a question into the chat.
I had one thing to add, Trevor. So we
Okay.
wanted to give a incentive to investors who contributed 400,000 or more. So if you do happen to do that, we're offering an 8% preferred return for 400,000 and up.
Now you guys are generous today. Very good. Excellent. Anybody have any questions? I know it was a pretty detailed, so just to give you what's going to happen, when you come to the portal, this deck will be uploaded on the portal, so you'll be able to see it. You're going to get an email sometime tomorrow or Wednesday morning from the Big Dog Group, which will have a replay of this webinar. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you understand. Again, I think this is a great opportunity and we look forward to being partners with you. I'm going to give it one more call for questions.
I had no questions. This is Sue. The
Hey,
questions
Sue.
I had you actually just answered during the presentation. It was a very good presentation. It was very detailed and laid out very, very well.
Well, thank you.
I followed it really well. And I'm a novice, so I'm here for the education.
Perfect.
So thank you so much for
Well,
that.
thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We all know you gotta learn first, then you can earn. Right,
Yes,
Michael?
definitely. Yes, a great foundation for education here. So
Awesome.
thanks
Thanks for
again.
coming, Sue.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Connect
Thank
with
you.
me so we can talk at some point if we haven't talked one-on-one. I don't think we have.
We did once, Trevor, but
Oh,
yes,
oh,
I am interested. So
okay.
talking to you again. I have more
Awesome.
questions. Okay, thank you,
Thank
dear.
you.
Hmm.
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, I had a few questions here. What is the purpose? Why are the owners selling? It seems like they've done a lot of the heavy lifting and they've got a good NOI increase just by bringing the rents up. So why are they bailing out?
Yeah, good question. So I'm gonna take that. So they are selling because they have another property that is the loan is coming due, and then it's on variable as well. So this is one of their best properties in the North Carolina market. When we're talking with the property manager, she was like, she kept questioning the seller, why are you selling this property? So that is actually why they are selling so that they can take the funds here and catch up with the other property that they have variable loan.
And then while you were talking there, I just did a quick Google search on them and I got some of the comments from some of the reviews and there's some complaints about dog food, poop, noise, and you address the parking in your parking thing. But I guess the concern is if people are seeing a lot of noise and the grounds aren't being kept up and then you're pulling out the property manager, how do you plan on addressing those issues to make sure that it's attractive to new renters?
Great question. So that is one of the opportunity we found there, and that's why we are not keeping the current property management because they are not actually. We actually interview all the most of the tenants, sorry, and we found out that that was the issue that was going on. So David mentioned about switching the dog park. That is one of our project that we when we jump in, we are going to be doing as well, and then we are going to be working on the as far as we have a new property management company that we have already interviewed them, and they know the market very well. They're going to be like they have an office like 1 mile away from the property, so they've already give us a program on how they are going to jump in and start addressing all those issues. So that's a very good question, and we actually know about that.
One of the and this little sidebar, but my daughter was living in a place in Houston and they had problems with dog poop and they actually collected dog poop and took DNA samples of it. Part of you moving in is you had to give a DNA sample of your dog. So if they, and it was a pretty
Oh,
stiff
wow.
fine
Yeah.
if they matched it up.
Right. So we're gonna be taking care of that as well. And we are when we're doing the due diligence, we walk into every unit, and we also did notice of the dogs, and we will be implementing. It looks like they are not collecting rent as far as all the dogs are concerned, so we're gonna be enforcing that as well as other income.
And I guess I've sat through this, I guess, twice before, different ones. Obviously, it's gotten much better, and I'll tell you that I really appreciate the work you guys put in here because it really is a good presentation, like Sue said. Um, where are you on the equity raise, I guess, is it's been out for a while, and I know you gave an incentive for someone putting in 400 grand, so I know you at least 400 grand short. And what are the chances this is going to fall apart before you get your equity?
So we are at 80 around 88% right now for the equity.
Okay.
So we are almost we are almost there. It's a smoking deal. I love the deal and we love this property because and that's why we are so passionate and excited about the property because it's gonna be a money making machine. That's how I always call it. And it's filling up so fast and Trevor mentioned and Dave, we were at 506B, and we had a lot of raise as far as that was concerned. So we just switched it to C to have our C investors give them the opportunity to invest in this deal as well. So we are around almost 90%.
Yeah, how that works also, Mike, is the only capital that's at risk is the risk capital that was put up for the earnest money deposit. And like Leonard and I put up the money, earnest money deposit. We paid for the inspection, the legal fees, and everything. So if for whatever reason something like that happened, all the investors who already invested their money get their money returned to them, and the only money that's at risk is the risk capital that we put up ourselves.
Right.
And before we put that, we are 100% sure that this is a good thing.
Yeah,
We can't put $100,000 just like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I one other thing you mentioned in there that was interesting to me is your team just the two of you guys?
Right now, we work
Yes.
really closely with Massive, but yeah, that's work
But
really. This is
you are the GP team plus massive then. You don't have
yes,
a yeah.
Right.
That's a different reason I'm asking that question than this investment, but it's
It's just Dave and I right now. We have the legal team as well that is helping us for the
Mhm.
legal filing and everything. And also we also have the team for the lending. So
that's why
Yeah.
we make sure
Yeah.
we get very good property managers in place. We actually interviewed, what was it, four or five of them, and picked Block Property Management because they're a bigger company. They have their own techs and maintenance guys. Like I was mentioning, if something bigger happened, they would get contractors in. But as far as like they love this deal because they know how great it is. All the units have already been renovated, so they just need to be brought to market. They already did the market analysis for us and their program and what they're going to do when they hit the ground running. So we know we got a really good property management in place, and
No, it's good.
yeah,
No, I'm back for the third time for a reason. So
well,
it's
thank you.
definitely one I've been circling around and
and
I
last
know
thing, we
there's
are below market. So that is one of the great advantages that we're looking at. We are below market by almost $300. So which
Yeah,
is
I'll jump back to that question too, Mike. You asked why the owner didn't raise the rents on that. That's because he was cash flowing, and that's why this deal is cash flowing for us day one. So he knew that he was going to have to sell because of his other property, and just started raising the rents on. It was approximately 10 of them that we saw, and then
mhm.
we'll come in and just continue to do that.
They're just kind of showing what the potential was, I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and
exactly.
also too, this at the time of the purchase, this was 93% occupied. If he bumps the rent up and gets it to 89, they won't qualify for agency debt.
Right.
So you got to be real safe at the end. You want to keep that number above 90 because you're going to kill a sale because then you won't qualify for Fannie Mae loan, which is the best loan to get on a property like this. So a seller is going to go for occupancy near the end versus rent growth because they want to stabilize it out. And he's also going to, like, there's four classic units vacant. He's not going to go spend the 10,000 bucks to put those up because he's not going to get it back on the sale, right?
Right. Right. And I guess the once you get your loan, you don't, then it doesn't matter, right? If you're raising rents and it drops below 90, you've already got the loan, right? So then it's
As
just your
long as you
job to
keep
keep
your
it.
DSCR, then they'll start to get upset with you if you somehow mess up on your DSCR. Like if you get two out of whack on your
Right.
debt service coverage ratio. But you guys are really solid there, I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Awesome.
good.
Well, thanks everybody. You'll get a copy of this recording. Love to have you as partners on this deal. Reach out to me.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks everybody. Thanks for
Thanks,
coming.
everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.